Tired of your lame old N64 games? You want to keep them all in one cart? You should try a Flashcart like the Everdrive 64. This bad boy can fit so many games in it. Or maybe, are you tired of expensive flashcarts like the Everdrive 64? Well, then let me show you the ED64 Plus. This is a clone of the Everdrive, and it functions pretty much the same, but for a big chunk less in terms of money. Still too much though? Well, guess what? There's another. The Super 64-bit Retro 340-in-1 game cart for N64 with 16GB card preloaded game ROMs here for you. It's even cheaper, and it already has 340-in-1 game card for the N64, so you just boot it up and you're good to go. Here we're going to be looking at not just a clone, but a clone of a clone. And we'll see if this thing's any good. So here we are. This is what happens whenever you boot up the flash drive. We are presented with the SD browser, which is going through our SD card, because that's essentially all this thing is like some special adapter so that we can boot stuff off of our card. And it also says up right here ED64P, which I believe means that this is in fact a clone of the ED64, which of course is a clone of the Everdrive 64. So I think later on I could probably update the software and actually get that going off of the ED64 stuff, and that means we'll be able to do some really cool stuff, because I believe this version, from what it seems anyway, doesn't have cheat codes. So this is a pretty old version, and the version I want to update to does. So we could do a lot of special stuff with that. Not just actual cheating, but like de-blurring and stuff like that. So that'll be really fun. But let me go ahead and just walk through. Let me pick. I'm probably going to go ahead and pick just like a kind of small game and test loading and make sure everything's fine. Charlie's Blast Territory. I want to pick one that I'm vaguely familiar with, so it isn't so I at least kind of know if something's messed up. I'll go with Dr. Mario 64. I didn't play this a ton, but I think I'll be able to point out if something's horribly wrong. Okay, so that loads super quick. That loads literally faster than my Frame Meister can even swap. So that's pretty nice. There shouldn't really be any issues about worrying about quality of booting in. From videos I'd seen with the ED64, I actually had seen people have really long load times, so this may just be something about the SD card and or the version that this is on, maybe? I don't know. I'm going to assume that everything's going to work totally fine. I'll go ahead and just go into a game real quick. I'm going to put this on the easiest thing ever, because again, just booting in real quick. Let's go ahead and test. I assume that this is how, you know, I don't know the last time I played this, and I could not tell you if I am doing this correctly. I kind of assumed that you, like, played like Tetris. Yeah, okay, cool. I do kind of know what I'm doing. Anyway, let's get out of this game. Let me hit reset. So the feature list on this right here has quite a bit. This cartridge should fit and work in any system and be able to run any kind of ROMs going on it. You can add and change any of these games because they are just at a flash card. It does support saving. Now, there is a difference with saving files that I'm actually only vaguely familiar with. The two that I've seen immediately while scrolling, sorry, the screen's a little bit cut off, but at the bottom left, you can see EEP4K, and you can see SRAM, which I believe the SRAM games save onto the actual system, and I think the EEP4K may save to the controller pack, which I do not have one, so I cannot test that. But going off of memory from games that I've played before, let me go to... So honestly, I don't know the 64 that well, so I can't really explain everything super in depth, but maybe that will be helpful for people who also don't know it very well and want to get into it and think that this would be a good way to be familiar with some of these new tools that are out that obviously weren't out whenever the N64 came out. And so I have indeed played on original hardware, the Ocarina of Time, and I do know that it saves to the cart, and it says SRAM right there. Now, this is a pretty big file size. This is 32 megabytes probably. And I think the largest one is 64, so I'm going to jump into this and see if it runs fine. And I'm also going to see how long it takes to load. And I probably won't save. I don't remember if you have to do anything special to save in this game, so I might not show off saving just because it'll probably take a ton of time. I don't know. I might just do it anyway while it's loading. So this is the load time. As you can see, that was pretty darn quick. There's very little complaints I can have with that, which is good. I like not complaining about this super cheap thing that I bought. That's really cool. So far, I've had absolutely no issues. Oh, I forgot. You select a file at the very beginning, so honestly, it may just go ahead and save right off the bat, like right now. Yeah, I guess it just saved to that file immediately. I'll go ahead and I'll jump in real quick and just make sure that it's fine. I forgot how long the intro for this was. Oh my god, this was not the best game to test this on. All I want to do is get into game, walk around for a minute, and then I'll go ahead, reboot, come back in, make sure my file is still there. Here we go, I can move. Oh my god, okay, you know, I think that's good enough. What do you know? It's still there. I probably didn't even need to go into game. I just wanted to really show off and make sure that everything was fine. It is. It's still there. So saving is working pretty well. And now I'll try booting up a big game and see how long that takes and kind of gauge the performance of that. And it looks like Conker's pretty big. So I'll go ahead and try it on this. So this is 64M. It is noticeably taking longer. It is taking a little bit of time, but... okay, now it's actually taking quite a bit of time. But you only have to do this once. So, you know. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. Now that we're actually in it and it's running, I don't think that there would be any performance difference in game for any reason at all, just because of how Flash-based stuff works. So, pretty sure we're good on that. I'm actually going to go ahead and jump over to my PC and see if I can't update the firmware on this. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to update this, and we're going to get some new features from having this at the latest operating system and installing another firmware called Alt64, which is going to be able to run cheat codes is really the main thing that I want it for. It also can do some emulators as well. So if you want to go ahead and download that, the firmware for Alt64, you can go ahead and just click on this, and what this is going to do is it's going to take you to Mega, and you can go ahead and download it, and I'll show you what it all looks like in a minute. This is for NTSC and not for PAL. It is for Japanese and American systems. You can also load some save games, put the emulators on there. I'm not going to really show that off. I am going to show off the cheats though. So the cheats are going to be in YML format. You can find a bunch of them on here. It also gives you a few examples. And they're going to be located in the folder ED64 cheats. To be able to configure them, I'll show you it, but you're going to hit the C button, the C right button, and it will be able to configure cheats as on. Really the biggest thing, if you're adding your own, make sure that the file names are the exact same before, and they have ones included already, so you can just use those as examples. So whenever you put your SD card into your computer, it's going to pretty much look like this. It's going to have wallpaper, a Loader 64, ED64P, and a big old bunch of games, okay? Now what we want to do is we want to change that to look a little different. What I currently have is what it needs to look like, which has some things tweaked. It has a new file for mempacks, and it also has a folder just called ED64. And there's another thing, but I'll show you that in a second. So what we're going to want to do is this is the folder that we downloaded. I'm not going to do anything with backups. You can go ahead and back up your stuff, by the way. If you think you might mess up, I'd go ahead and recommend it. Shouldn't take very long to back up your stuff. What we will do is to get this looking like that, we will grab the mempacks folder and the ED64. and you can just copy and throw them into here. And then what I did, I could not for the life of me get the cheat codes to work, and that's because I need to update my system. Now, it said my system, the firmware for my operating system was fine, but what I ended up going ahead and doing anyways, I went into ED64P because I saw that this is from 2018 and the original one was from like 2012 or something, and I copied this from ED64 again, ED64P, excuse me. Little confusing, I know. And I went into mine, ED64P, and I copied it right there. As you can see, very different age compared to most of the other stuff was from like 2012 or something. And that made a very visible difference because it loads up a different wallpaper as well, which I'll show you me running through in just about now. And here it is. Can you tell? It looks a little different, huh? So this means it worked. We updated and we're using someone else's settings, which is totally fine. So what we can go ahead and do is I will scroll over to a game that I want to launch that I know that I have cheat codes set up for, which actually, let me go ahead and show you the cheats real quick. I will say navigating through Alt64 is noticeably slower than going through the actual software that we had going. So as you can see, there's a cheats folder right here. So if you ever forget which games you have cheats for and you don't want to have to hook this up to your computer to be able to check, you can go ahead and just navigate to here. And we will probably test out Ocarina of Time. I think will be the easiest considering we had a save for that. And I think the save is still on here. I don't think I did anything to that. So we'll go ahead and exit through the menu. And again, this is actually really slow compared to the other one. Kind of sucks. If you honestly, if you are doing cheat codes, maybe keep it on the other one. I am going to be using cheat codes, and it's very unfortunate that this is so slow. But you know, it happens, I guess. So if we hit the right C button, we can go ahead and get some more info for it, and we can also turn cheats on, which I did not do. Okay, you have to move over. Don't just hit A. I didn't read the bottom. Now the cheats are on. And now we'll launch the game. Now, this could take substantially longer to actually launch the game. We are running cheat codes now. We are using a slightly different software to be able to go through this, so as you can tell, it is taking a little bit. Aw, man, cheats not found. So I went and changed the file name. As you can probably guess, this isn't how many hearts I'm supposed to have at the very beginning of the game. I also want to try out this weird moon jump thing. So, yep, that's what you do. You just hold down L and you just start floating, which I can tell you that is in fact not what's supposed to happen. I guess I'm just gone now. All right, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it helped. Bye. Ah. Where am I? I'm out of the screen. Why isn't the camera coming with me? Well, that's not good. All right, seriously. Bye. I'm done.